What's up, guys? We're here with the director of Corridor 4. Stephen, can you tell us about your film?
Yeah, so Corridor 4 is the story of Isaac Hopi, who is originally from Oahu in this small town called Waianae. He moved to the DC area, and then after a little time there, he basically started working at the Pentagon in the K-9 unit, and he was a first responder on September 11th, and one of the first people to go into the building. And the film follows him and his coworkers' attempts to deal with the traumatic aftermath of the event, because I think that in everything they did and saving people, they were given a lot of praise, rightfully so, for what they did. But I think that both they and other people didn't realize that they were dealing with like the horrible things that they saw, and they weren't really sure how to express what they were taught, what they had seen. And so it's about mental health treatment in like in the aftermath of a terrible event.
So what brought you to make a film on the subject?
So my wife has been friends with Isaac's family probably since grade school, I think. So Isaac taught or coached softball for my little sister-in-law, and Isaac's daughter were on the same team. And so then I guess over the years, Gigi, Isaac's wife, would tell my wife's mom about everything that was going on. And after a while, like after we moved to LA, we started thinking that maybe we should make a film about Isaac, because we really wanted to make something of our own. And we just thought, what's the best story we have the access to? And of anybody we knew, we thought like Isaac's story is such an incredible story of like just heroism, but also like determination in the face of something that was really tough to deal with afterward, and how basically like his family's love and his love of Hawaiian music really were able to carry him out of that. And so we thought it was such a good hero story to tell.
Well, I mean, I think what's so interesting too about the film is that Asian American mental health, and mental health in general, is just not really spoken about enough in this world, especially in our communities.
Yeah.
Was that something that, going into this film, that was maybe difficult to deal with, or to kind of bring out the story?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, when we first started, I think that it was something that was in the back of our mind. We thought this might turn into an important part of the story, but we didn't have a lot of information at that point. And as we I did a lot of phone interviews with all the subjects before we started filming, because I wanted to know how are we going to navigate this. Like, is there enough to make a feature, or is this a short? And in the phone conversations, like some of those topics started to come up, and I thought, okay, these sound important, but let's tackle them in person. And so then when we'd interview Isaac, he would tell me about some of the stuff, but like his is a story of like recovery. Like there's a good outcome at the end of it, whereas he was starting to then tell me about some of the officers who didn't necessarily fare as well for a variety of reasons. Like maybe the support system like wasn't there that he had with his family, or like they didn't have an outlet like art, like in music. But we realized that this was a good opportunity because we went into it, I felt like, with not a lot of knowledge on the subject, and thought, first of all, we need to educate ourselves about this, and second of all, this is a good chance to show other people like how there's like a breadth of treatment for mental health, and nobody's case is the same, and that also there's like a stigma involved with it that could go away if people felt okay talking about it more.
In the Asian community, and especially just in our society, mental health is not something that's really taught. It's still a stigma.
Yeah.
Going into this, was there any struggles trying to kind of get the subject matter out? Any pushback?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough. Well, for them as police officers, I think it's tough for them to talk about it, because the stigma for them is that they're not supposed to look weak, and to them, like for whatever reason, a physical injury kind of manifests itself as being like, oh, you were tough, like you like broke your arm, or you were burned badly, but you like got out of it. But for them, having something like a mental health issue, the impression is that you're like weak and couldn't tough it out or something. And I think that this event changed their thinking on it, because for a while they didn't fully understand what was going on with them. And I think I felt like this was a good story to educate other people about it, because in the story you get to see a breadth of different stories. Like Isaac's is one that has like a happy outcome where like through the love of his family and like returning to music, he's able to, you know, just like find joy in life again that he didn't necessarily have afterward. But then there were some other officers in the story where, you know, like their outcome isn't quite as like, you know, positive. I think now it is for them, but they went through like times that were probably even darker than what Isaac went through. And I thought, yes, Isaac's the main character, but you know, we need to show his coworkers too, to show all the different shades of like what mental health treatment looks like and what are the dangers that some people might be facing. And having these officers who are so decorated for their heroism speak about these issues, I thought it might be a good way of opening up the conversation and having people who feel like they're too tough to admit to something like this or seek help for something, that they might see these folks on screen and think, like, wow, like Isaac is talking about some of the things that he went through in the past, and you know, and I can't think of like a tougher individual than him, you know, and of everything that he did and how selfless he was that day. And I just felt like he was such a good example of a story to prompt the conversation about this.
Well, can we also ask, you know, this year it's a little different, so we see a little bit more Pacific Islander representation, and for a good reason, you know. And having this as a Hawaiian story, or Hawaiian background, did you find that any different than what you've seen with maybe other Asian cultures, or how they dealt with it? Because music, again, is like such a big part of it. Was the culture, you know...
oh, yeah, I think... So when we went to Hawaii to film Isaac for part of the film, and I think when we went, I started to realize, I knew that family was an important component of the story because it was very integral to his recovery, and I knew that music was too. But then when you see, like, you know, there was a big family reunion there, and it became a very pivotal part of the story, because you see then, like, in front of you the power of family for him and the power of music for him and for everybody around him. And I thought it was just like uniquely Hawaiian, I thought, because it just seemed like so nice, and maybe even something that I was like unfamiliar with. My like growing up, I don't really remember having that many family reunions, you know, and seeing like we go there and they're like, oh, this is something we do every year, and it just seems like so much fun. And I thought, like, this is so great to have this network here to help you when you're down and you really need help.
Well, and you know, I think a lot of us, especially in the Asian community, we thank you for spreading that culture, showing the world what Asian culture can be like, what Hawaiian culture can be like. And, you know, one thing we'd like to do is, how do we support you? How do we spread the message of your film? When can we go see it? After this festival? Where can we follow you online?
So we have a Facebook page. It's just Corridor 4. Like if you just type in Corridor 4 into Facebook, you can find it. And we update with every screening. Right now we're going basically to festivals, but we're in search of distribution. We want to make sure that everybody can see it somehow, and that's kind of the biggest hurdle right now, is that we just need to find a distributor. And obviously, but festivals like this are so good for getting the exposure out there. And if you want to see it at the festival, it's 12:30 on Saturday, May 5th at East West Players.
Make sure you go see it, guys. East West Players, historical place to go, so knock them out.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Steve.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.